on the U of M campus. The Bisons will try to get back on the winning track as they entertain the always powerful Brandon Bobcats.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to CKND's Game of the Week, and we've got a good one for you today. Brandon versus Manitoba in GPAC men's basketball. Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Pascucci, along with our color commentator, Don the Rocket Lamont. And, Don, this is our first look at this Brandon team, and this is their second and final year on their CIAU probation.
And, Joe, what that means is that they have to win GPAC to be eligible for that CIAU Canadian Finals. They have to win it. And it's not going to be easy getting out of this conference. Last year they finished first, but they weren't eligible to go to the CIAUs. This year they are, and it's going to be tough because you got 3 of the top 6 teams in the country, Manitoba, Winnipeg, and Brandon, in this conference.
Manitoba Bison's losers, as you saw in the opening on Tuesday night, and in that game, Joe Uggams did not play in the first half because he missed a couple of practices.
Well, a little bit of controversy on the team. He said that he missed practice for academic reasons on Sunday and Monday. Now, he has been out to practice the last 2 times. They had a team meeting for an hour and a half to try and get things ironed out. Coach Rick Suffield from Manitoba says they should have a good ball game tonight. They got all the problems ironed out and they're ready to play.
All right, taking a look at the GPAC standings, you'll see the Manitoba Bisons are second and the Brandon Bobcats are number 3. The Winnipeg Westmen lead with a 7-1 record. Manitoba Bisons are at 5-1. And Brandon with 4-0 record, and the Bobcats the only team in GPAC yet to lose this season. And we'll be back with the opening tip-off between the Brandon Bobcats and the Manitoba Bisons right after this. And we're back here at the Bison East Gym. The Manitoba Bisons against the Brandon Bobcats. And the Bisons are just being introduced right now as you take a look at a good crowd here at the Bison East Gym to take in this game. The Bobcats, as you see, yet to lose in GPAC play. And a couple of weeks ago, they beat the University of Victoria, which is now ranked number 1 in Canada.
Okay, let's get on the board and let's really
it should be an interesting start to this ball game. I was talking to Coach Rick Suffield,
full court man,
and they're going to, as you hear him on the mic, they're going to go full court man-to-man and see if Brandon can turn the ball over. The book on Brandon all year is that their guards are weak. Earl Roberts is now an assistant coach with Brandon, and he was the guy for the last 5 years that did it for them, bringing the ball up. And Don Thompson's had to fill in, number 14. And he doesn't have Earl's speed, but he's steadily improved and getting to the point now where Brandon is getting the ball up the floor, and they're beating teams like Victoria, and that's going to be tough for everybody they're playing against.
And immediately Brandon gets the ball as John Carson, the 3-time All-Canadian, went up there and beat Joe Uggams for the ball. Uggams starting, of course, against Winnipeg. He did not start the first half, and Joe Uggams comes down with the rebound.
Well, I think the loss to Winnipeg is going to help Manitoba. It should be interesting to see how they respond. But controversy like that usually draws the team closer together.
Marvin Russell with the steal, and that forces Tony House to just put the big grab on him. And we're going to be shooting 2 here.
Well, there's no doubt about that. He made a grab as he was going up. We see it here. Tony House hustling back on defense here on Marvin Russell, and he just reaches in. Marvin's already made his motion to go up, and it's a good call by referee Dave Morphy. Marvin Russell's the 3rd leading scorer on this Brandon team, averaging 11.3 points a game. Jerry Hemmings, the coach of 11 years for Brandon, says one of the problems with this year's edition of the Bobcats has been consistency scoring-wise. They're going to get their 20-25 from All-Canadian Johnny Carson, but from the other guys in the lineup, they're having a little bit of trouble getting consistency. Marvin Russell is one of those guys that's got to do it. Also, John Bukovic. John Bukic, I should say.
Russell 1 for 2 from the charity line as Terry Garrow hits from about 19.
Well, that's one thing about these Manitoba Bisons. You never know who's going to get hot. They got so many guys that can put the ball in. that's one thing Jerry Hammonds was worried about before the game, was defensive.
Carson in for 2, and he'll go to the line for possibly a 3-point
We get a
play.
chance to see it here on the replay. I want you to look at what Johnny Carson does position inside. Watch him hold off Terry Garrow with the other arm, goes out strong, and he gets the foul as Tony Kaufman, the doc, reaches in on that one. But that was all position. And that's part of the reason why Johnny Carson's been an All-Canadian the last 3 years.
Brandon leading 4-2 here in this first minute of the first half. Tony Kaufman had that ball knocked out. House got it back for the Bison.
And Tony House did a smart thing. He did not touch the ball until it went back over center. Otherwise, he would have got called for back over.
Joe Uggams inside. Good move. Goes up. Can't put it in. Gets the rebound. And the reverse layup doesn't work. The ball goes back in. And Dave Carson put it into his own basket.
Johnny Carson shaking his head. That time they made a smart move defensively, not fouling Uggams once he did get inside. But he got a little bit lucky to get that basket.
Rebound. Jefferson comes up with a good pass to Thompson. Thompson with the rebound of his own shot and gets it in.
Good inside action early in this ball game. Both teams getting multiple offensive rebounds and chances. Neither team wanting to get in early foul trouble.
6-4, Brandon lead. Bad pass by Garrow. Here comes Russell. Thompson, easy layup.
Marvin Russell's been all over Manitoba up top. Two steals for Marvin Russell already.
Jeff House with the short shot. Russell with the quick pass to Jefferson. Jefferson's pass knocked down, but Marvin Russell gets his first 2 points of the game.
Right now, Manitoba's doing a very poor job of getting back defensively. Tony House has been the only man holding the fort, and they're going to have to adjust for their transition game, or they could get blown out here.
Jeff House off the back rim, rebound by Bukic, and look at those elbows come up.
That's what he's in there for, muscle, rebounding. They got lots of other guys who can get the ball up the floor and score. He's there to stay on the boards.
54, John Bukic, the pass to Jefferson. He'll go up and in.
And if Brandon continues at this pace, it could be a long night for Manitoba.
Bobcats have opened up an 8-point lead here. 3 minutes gone in this first half. Kaufman with the miss. Good pass by House to Joe Uggams, and Uggams puts it in.
I'm surprised that Manitoba, one way to adjust to the situation is to get the ball inside. They're taking those long outside shots, and as a result, they're missing. And Brandon gets the transition game going because those long rebounds, they get out on the break and 3-on-1 to the 3-on-2. That time they got push-off ball in Jefferson.
44, Patrick Jefferson getting the fouls. You take a look at Terry Garrow and Tony House. They played their high school ball at St. Pius in Ottawa, and House will bring it up court.
So Manitoba's got to get the ball inside right now. They've got to get some rhythm in their offense, and there it is.
Garrow looks like he panicked there underneath. A steal by Joe Uggams. Bad pass, and what are we going to call here? Traveling on Joe Uggams.
A little Milwaukee shuffle that time by Joe. He looks a little tight. I think he's feeling the pressure of his forced absence, and he's maybe trying to do a little too much himself right now.
Well, he knows all the attention in this early moments of this game is on him. Don Thompson to John Carson. And Carson made that one look so easy.
Well, there's no doubt that's the difference right now. Manitoba does look tight, and Brandon's just playing with nothing to lose. Because really, there isn't anything for Brandon to lose. They don't get ranked nationally anyway. And the way the other two teams in GPAC are, there's no doubt that they're going to get in the GPAC regionals, which will be on March the 1st. So they really don't have anything to lose.
Patrick Jefferson to Russell inside to Carson, and the ball will go off the foot of Garrow. And Brandon will inbound it.
That time, I'm surprised Johnny Carson didn't take the shot. He had good position inside, and he elected to pass off.
This game's certainly more wide open than the one we saw last weekend on our game of the week between Winnipeg and Manitoba. Jefferson.
Though you wouldn't know it talking to the coaches before the game, because Jerry Hemming said he was going to try and slow it down a little bit. They are slowing Manitoba down, but they're certainly not taking any time getting the ball up to the basket.
Kaufman to Garrow, went off the foot of Jefferson.
Coach Rick Suffield for Manitoba said they were going to start the game man-to-man, and I think they have to a certain effect in the front court. But they haven't done a good job on man-to-man all year, and I think that I have to see adjustment defensively by Manitoba.
Tony Kaufman, this one will be short, and Carson comes up with a rebound.
Not a knock against Tony Kaufman. I think that time they should get the ball around a little bit, let everybody handle and get the ball inside. Because they're in danger of getting blown out right now.
Johnny Carson doing a dance around Garrow and getting the basket.
18-8, 10-point lead.
Tony House looked over to the bench there for a moment for some words of wisdom from Rick Suffield as Kaufman went in and missed. The Bisons got the ball back.
Well, the right idea.
John Bukic will be caught on the foul. Rick Lambert calling that one.
A little too much body that time by the big forward for Brandon, number 54. As we see what we were talking about, Tony must have heard me, because that time he does get the ball inside to Tony. I mean to Joe Ogums, and John Bukic gives him a little bit of a tug.
Terry Garrow trying to find some room, puts it up and in.
Not only did he find some room, he made the basket. Not an easy shot with all those big guys in there.
Good crowd here at the Bison East Gym, and it's getting bigger as we go along here. As Carson just can't miss.
Well, the weather is a factor in that. I guess a lot of people didn't realize how long it took to get the ball game, and we do have a good crowd here.
9 points for Carson in the game as Jeff House keeps that ball for the Bison. Passes off to brother Tony, back to Jeff. Carson almost came up with the steal.
Brandon playing a very aggressive zone right now, going for the steal.
Kaufman aggressively goes for the basket, but for the second time in a row, misses as he gets in close.
Well, he changed his shot a little because Johnny Carson did a good job that time up there challenging the ball on the way to the basket. And I think I'd be intimidated a little bit too if I saw Johnny Carson come flying at me.
Jefferson with the miss. Kaufman comes down with a rebound, and Garrow will bring it up court. Pass to Tony House. He goes to the basket, and Joe Ogums puts it in.
Joe Ogums there getting involved, and he gets an easy two-pointer, and I know Coach Jerry Hemmings just want to see that as far as the Brandon perspective is concerned. They don't want to let Joe get going.
And we're going to have some substitutions coming in right now. Frank Bajorski, number 50 for Brandon, and Neil Enns, number 33 for Manitoba.
Brandon changing a banger for a banger as they put in Bajorski, who likes to mix it up physically as well. And Neil Enns is no slouch. Neil Enns has just been a tremendous, I don't know if you can call it surprise, but he's been playing very well for Manitoba.
And Bajorski called immediately on the foul as he just bowled over Tony House, or was that Kaufman that got knocked out?
That was Tony Kaufman that took it. You see here on the lob pass inside, Tony Kaufman sneaks in behind, and as Bajorski comes down, he gives Tony an elbow right in the mouth. And that's got to hurt because Mr. Bajorski is no small man.
That pass by Kaufman went off one of the Bobcat players. 20-12 for Brandon. 12:30 remaining in this first half as you take a look at Terry Garrow. Kaufman will inbound it to Garrow. Outside to House, inside to Kaufman, and we got a reaching in foul here on Bajorski. And he's into the game less than a minute. He's got 2 fouls.
Well, I think that's what he's in there for, is just to make things tough inside. That time he got caught out of position.
And Bajorski coming out, and Bukic going back in as you take a look at Bison coach Rick Suffield, and sitting beside him is Jeff House, watching the action here.
Well, that was a quick 2 fouls, and I think he had to force Jerry Hemmings' hands a little earlier, getting Bukic back in the game.
Good move by Ogums underneath, but he just couldn't find the hoop. And Carson gets called for traveling.
Little NBA shuffle that time, but Johnny has a tendency to do that. You got to put the ball down on the floor before you pick up your pivot foot. That time he did.
Kaufman looking for some room, gets it and gets the basket.
Great balance that by Tony Kaufman, and good defense by Terry Garrow getting back to stop that long pass.
Bisons can cut it to 4 here, but Garrow does a little bit of NBA shuffle.
Both teams a little anxious to get the ball to the basket. Manitoba has picked up the pace. They're trying to force the ball up the floor, get a little bit more flow on offense. Neil ends with a wrap around his thigh there. We weren't aware of that injury. See if it slows him down at all.
Jebison goes up, and it drops for Patrick Jebison.
Jebison has shown a very nice touch early for Brandon. And he's poured through 3 baskets already.
Tony House goes up. Rebound. Neil Enns fights for it and gets it in.
Neil Enns has done a tremendous job all year coming in off the bench. Last game we did, the game of the week, he got the ball 4 times and scored 4 times. On Tuesday night against Winnipeg, when Winnipeg won, he was just as good. So I think they should try and get the ball to Neil Enns a little bit more here if they can.
22-16. Russell almost coming up with a steal, and Garrow nails another 19-footer. 6 points for Garrow in this first half. And I think they should call that one Brandon Ball.
Yeah, they
They're not going to, but they should.
There's no doubt.
The ball went off Tony House's foot. And Jerry Hemmings, as you probably heard, called a timeout. 22-18 to score, 10:47 left in this first half.
And you can see in the bottom of your screen there, Jerry Hemmings and Earl Roberts and Brandon explaining to referee Dave Murphy the ball was kicked.
Okay, Neil, you're basically the power man, okay? If Joe flashes up, you power inside. If you flash up, then Joe will power inside. And right now, that's fine to step in there once in a while and pull it. And on the reversal, Koff, you're open on that.
As you hear Manitoba coach Rick Suffield saying they're going to try and get the ball inside a little bit more.
Marvin just had a good shot. Also, remember, that's the middle is open.
All right.
Okay, the middle's open.
There's Billy Bison. He doesn't have his tuxedo here tonight.
Billy Bison.
Billy Bison. We've got the Wiz down at Winnipeg.
The Wiz, yeah, right.
Billy Bison here at Manitoba.
Oh, Billy Bison.
Almost got a technical there.
That's right. Being a little physical.
So the Bisons get a break on the ball that goes out of bounds. And they have a chance to cut it to 2 right now as they trail 22-18.
Manitoba getting into their flow offensively a little bit more.
Neil Enns over Bukic. The ball goes off the rim. Garrow had some momentary room. Joe Uggams and John Carson will jump for it. Oh, we got the arrow here, don't we?
That's correct, and that'll go to Manitoba on the baseline. Tough shot that time inside by Terry Garrow. A lot of bodies in there.
Bad inbound pass by Kaufman. Russell will go up. And a little goaltending by Neil Enns.
No doubt about that call. Those ones are pretty easy. That's about 5 baskets that Brandon have got off the fast break. Again, turnovers playing a very important part early in this ball game.
Kaufman, good move around Carson. And he throws it off the foot of Jebison, so the Bisons will keep possession with 14 seconds on the shot clock.
Good defense that time by Brandon. Forced Tony, the Doc, down on the baseline and didn't let him come back out from underneath for a try at the basket. He had no opportunity to pass it to anybody.
And they've reset the shot clock to 30.
A reset on that kick ball, so they'll get a new 30 seconds.
Kaufman will inbound it quickly to Neil Enns. Neil Enns has it knocked away from him by Courtney Bailey, who's into the game. And then Tony House comes back to stop that pass, but then Russell steals from House. John Carson. That's his first miss of the game, and Joe Uggams comes up with a rebound.
Johnny Carson with a patented one-hand jump shot.
And a steal by Russell on Uggams, and Russell goes in. Yes.
Great steal and an even nicer basket that time. Joe Uggams wasn't even aware that he was there, and he just snuck up behind him and took the ball away from him.
Marvin Russell from Toronto, Ontario.
He also did a very nice job of not taking the charge that time.
And Neil Enns will pick up the foul.
Good look at Neil Enns there as Terry Garrell goes up for the jump shot. Good hand in the face that time by Marvin Russell for Brandon. And Neil Enns, fighting for the basketball, gets called for a foul.
26-18, Brandon leading. A chance to increase that margin to 10 again. Russell. Second-year Bobcat. Pass to Bailey. Loose ball. Carson saves it. Back to Russell. Good move inside. Had it knocked away from him. Loose ball, and Joe Uggams comes up with it. Wide open first half here. Good back pass, and Uggams loses it to Carson.
No doubt that Joe Uggams looks a little tight. No doubt. And we have an injury timeout here as Marvin Russell looks like he's pulled something in his leg. His coach Jerry Hemmings goes over to find out what the problem is.
8:53 remaining here in this first half, 26-18. Let's take a look at that injury.
He just looks like he pulled a muscle in his leg. Strategy-wise, it was kind of interesting as we see a loose ball on the floor and Tony Kaufman laying on top of Marvin Russell. But what I was going to say, though, Rick Suffield wanted to start with his fast, smaller lineup, put pressure on Brandon. It hasn't worked out to be very effective at all. In fact, Manitoba didn't start out very well defensively at all. So he decided to go with a big lineup, and he put Neil Enns in there with Tony Kaufman and Joe Uggams. Neil Enns has turned the ball over a couple times, and Joe Uggams has seemed rather tight. And I think that's been the major difference, and that is why Brandon's enjoying an 8-point lead.
Do you think that the Bisons wanted to get this wide open with the Bobcats so early in the first half? It's a cut to the head.
Well, I think he got it doubly. I think he pulled a muscle in his leg, and I think he also got an elbow on top of the head. So he's hurting in two places.
Next week, CKND's Game of the Week will feature GPAC volleyball, the Manitoba Bisons against the Winnipeg Westmen, Saturday, February 1st at 12 noon. Let's take another look at Marvin Russell, who's played very well in this first half.
I've been very impressed with his quickness on defense, and he's done an excellent job shooting the ball. He's got 4 points.
Got a deep gash, apparently, to Marvin Russell. We didn't see how that happened. But Marvin Russell will probably need some stitches after this game.
In fact, he might have to take him to the hospital if he can't stop the bleeding. And that would be a big blow for Brandon because, as we mentioned, he was playing very well. We'll see Courtney Bailey come in the ball game for Brandon.
John Carson working against Joe Uggams and Terry Garrell. A little bit of double teaming, and Uggams knocks it out of bounds.
I think Manitoba's made some adjustments defensively. They're going to sag in a little bit more, try and deny the ball in the middle, and they're going to put Joe Uggams on Johnny Carson's side and try and keep him from having the ball so much. As soon as I say that, Carson goes to the other side of the floor and makes a jump shot over Tony Kaufman, so there goes that strategy.
11 points for John Carson here in this first half. 3-time All-Canadian. Joe Uggams pulls the string.
Well, there you see two of the finest players in the country going head-to-head, Joe Uggams and Johnny Carson.
Marvin Russell being bandaged up by the Bison trainer.
And he looks like he's got shock, a little bit of shock sitting in there, and they might be well advised to get him to the hospital. I didn't see that happen, did you?
It looked innocent enough. Courtney Bailey. Outside to James Pettiford. Back to Bailey. He's going to hold on to it for a while. Carson over Uggams. And Enns comes down with the rebound, but gives it away to James Pettiford. And we get a traveling call, and the Bobcats bench comes up in unison.
The Manitoba bench is also wanted the charge on that. You see Neil Enns' ill-advised pass here. Nice steal by Jefferson and bounces off referee Dave Morphy. And does definitely look like a charge there, but they got the travel call.
28-20. House goes inside, outside to Garrow. And the rebound is taken by John Carson. Quickly up to Courtney Bailey.
He got called for double dribble, but I was going to say on that rebound by Johnny Carson, he was surrounded by 3 Manitoba players, all white jerseys, and he came down with that board. Tough rebounding in there. One has to wonder where Frank Dukic has been. He hasn't really done too much on the boards yet for Brandon.
Kaufman just gives it away to James Pettiford as he was hoping House would move in, and Pettiford pulls it in.
Certainly it's uncharacteristic of Manitoba, at least the games that we've done in the last 2 years, for them to turn the ball over this much.
As much as they are doing, you're right. Especially by players like House and Kaufman and Joe Uggam.
Well, I think one of the things is the guys are concentrating so much on playing a team game, sometimes they're overpassing the ball when they should be shooting. It tends to get everybody thinking when you should be reacting, and then as a result, you do tend to turn the ball over more.
Rick Lambert, the official here, under some heat from that Brandon bench. Carson to Courtney Bailey. Pettiford back to Carson. And Kaufman forcing that shot from Carson. May have led to that miss.
I don't know if the Brandon coaches were directing their comments at referee Rick Lambert and Tony Kaufman shot, but I think they want to set offense here right now, and Jerry Hemmings is yelling at Courtney Bailey to run something on offense.
James Pettiford to Carson, and it was stealed by Garrow, and Garrow works the outside. 3-on-1, little fancy move by Garrow.
Behind the back. Beautiful move by Terry Garrow.
I want to see that again. Let's save that tape. Carson goes up over Joe Uggams and gets 2. Carson now with 13 points in this first half.
And that's when you needed Johnny Carson. After a tremendous play by Terry Garrow to quiet the Manitoba fans, Johnny Carson comes and makes a tough basket.
Carson comes down with another rebound. 5:20 remaining in this first half, 32-26. Bobcats with the big lead here. And Garrow.
And you can hear it all the way from here. Number 4, Terry Garrow pushing from behind. Johnny Carson again fighting for position inside, and you see the 2-hand shove. No doubt about that call.
John Carson certainly tracks a crowd wherever he goes.
Well, he does such a good job of moving without the ball, and that's why he scores so many points. He knows how to get himself open. I think for anybody that plays the game or is interested in the game, you got to watch a guy like number 42, Johnny Carson, away from the ball. What he does when he doesn't have the ball.
Tony Kaufman tries to pull the string and does.
Tony Kaufman trying to get more involved offensively. I think he feels that they need their offense.
Still by the Bisons, pass to Garrow. And it'll count, and he'll go to the line. Courtney Bailey called on the foul.
Terry Garrow again with a steal, and watch number 10, Courtney Bailey with his forearm on the back. Terry Garrow showing great balance that time, concentrates all the way through, makes the basket, and he'll get a chance for the opportunity for the 3-point play. And Manitoba are right back in the ball game with that. It's a 1-point game, 32-31, Manitoba trailing.
Well, the Bobcats had a 10-point lead as Jefferson lost that pass from Carson. We're going to have a jump ball. And it'll be Brandon's possession.
Now,
the arrow was pointing that way.
Last time we did these, we did Manitoba against Winnipeg. They started out man-to-man, didn't do a very good job. They got down 12 points early. They changed to zone, and they came back. They got right back in the ball game. This time, they've made 2 adjustments. They've gone zone, and they've also picked up full court pressure. I believe it's a 2-2-1 full court they're playing, and Brandon's been turning the ball over.
Courtney Bailey will inbound it for the Bobcats. Outside to Don Thompson. 4:28 left in this first half. Thompson inside to Bukic to Jefferson. And Jefferson with the 2-pointer.
That is not an easy shot. Showing good balance that time. A nice little jump hook inside by Patrick Jefferson.
34-31. Bobcats leading by 3.
And I believe they did take Marvin Russell to the hospital because he's left the Brandon bench.
Joe Uggams over Carson, but it's short. And Bukic comes down with it. Thompson to Courtney Bailey. Bailey to Carson.
Unbelievable balance. He has one of the sweetest jump shots in Canada. And he doesn't shoot it like anybody I've ever seen. He's just a one-hand floater.
Kaufman, rebound by Uggams, and he puts it in.
Beautiful balance, good inside position that time of Joe Uggams. He says, they're not going to give me the ball inside. I'm going to have to go get it myself. And that time he just went and got a great offensive rebound.
And Carson can't handle the pass. And with the score, Brandon 36, Manitoba 33. We'll be back right after this.
No payments for 3 months. Come on down to Current Hill Furniture Co-op and you'll have no payments for 3 months with...
And the Bisons having substitutions coming in now. Brian Gray into the game. 3:16 left in this first half. Bobcats leading by 3 over the Bisons, 36-33. Tony House drives for the basket, pass to Gray, and someone snuck his hand in there. I think that was Jefferson.
He got called for the foul, number 44 for Brandon. Brian Gray comes in and gets involved. We didn't see him on the last game of the week because he had a blood disorder, and that's all cleared up now, and he's ready to play. Apparently played very well Tuesday night against Winnipeg. Picking up some of the slack for Joe Uggams.
Brian Gray will go to the charity line. Shooting 2.
Neepawa High School, Brian Gray.
And his high school coach out there, Eugene Todd.
In fact, we have 2 rural Manitoba High School products on the floor right now for Manitoba. Also, Rick Dirksen from Winkler, number 12, comes in the ball game for Manitoba. So right now, Manitoba deciding going with a little height. They have Joe Uggams, Brian Gray, and Rick Dirksen in the game, and they're all over 6'5".
And with 3:08 remaining in this first half, Rick Suffield calling a timeout for the Bisons.
It's the first time that I've seen that much height on the floor at one time for Manitoba.
Top swinger, Tony's at point. Hey, we've got lots of size in there now, so let's get our hands up. We're playing right at 13, and we're going to try and run, okay? If no, because they're going zone right now. So, hey, one of you flash up, one of you rotate underneath, okay? And look for the ball, but somebody's got to flash to the high post area. Once in a while.
And now, Brandon coach Jerry Hemming.
Donnie. Okay, Donnie, once you run the diagonal cut, CB on the go. And make sure if we got something, fine. If we don't, just set it up and be patient, okay? Listen, man, you got to do a better job on the backboard. We got to get 5 guys taking rebounds. 5 men rebounds.
We hear that North Carolina accent from Jerry Hemmings, who's been the head coach of the Brandon University Bobcats for 11 years.
It certainly adds to the flavor of this game.
The 1980 CIAU Coach of the Year, Jerry Hemmings.
Steal by Tony House. And it's in, and the Bisons have their first lead of the game, 37-36.
Brandon feeling the pressure a little bit. They've been turning the ball over here in the last 5 minutes. Certainly enabled Brandon to get, Manitoba to get back in the ball game.
Ever since Russell's come out because of that injury is Carson. Short on one of the few occasions. And Joe Uggams called on the foul on Milton Vaughn. That's Uggams' first of this half.
We'll see it on the replay. What you didn't see, 52 pushed off on Joe Uggams there, and that was the reason he was able to get that rebound. We had a good angle from here, but you didn't see it on the replay.
Uggams coming up with the rebound on the missed shot by Vaughn. And Carson with the steal and 2 points.
How many times have we seen that in this game where they just not watching, just throwing the ball into somebody on the other team? Uncharacteristics of both teams.
Bobcats back out in front, 38-37. Joe Uggams trying to atone for that mistake. Loose ball. And Uggams comes up with it. Who is that? Jefferson with the block.
That's right.
Dirksen goes up. Can't put it in.
Great action inside that time. Loose balls and blocks and people falling to the earth. Good stuff.
Good first half, Carson. Been leading these Bobcats all day. Good pass to Vaughn, and Dirksen looked like he had good position, but the officials disagree.
He made the mistake of reaching in that time. Milton Vaughn again got away with a push-off and a travel. We'll see it on the replay.
52, Milton Vaughn.
You can't see his feet, but he took a little Milwaukee shuffle there, and then he jumped back in. And Rick Dirksen, if he just would have held his position with his 2 arms up, Milton Vaughn would have got an offensive foul. Because there's nowhere for him to go. Shoot it underneath, right in the back there.
Bobcats with a 1-point lead with 1:45. And Vaughn missing 2 from the charity line. So the Bisons now with an opportunity to regain the lead. Kaufman.
With all that size in there, it certainly has increased the activity under the defensive boards.
Joe Uggams draws a crowd. A good dish off to Kaufman. And the Bisons back out in front by 1.
Tony Kaufman loves to use the board from that side.
Courtney Bailey dishing off to Carson. He lost it momentarily. And then Kaufman. Oh, Kaufman, I thought knocked it out of bounds.
It might have gone off Carson's finger. We didn't see it. Rick Lambert was in a lot better position to see it than we were that time. That's what must have happened.
Brian Gray. And the Bisons get a 3-point lead.
Nice basket that time by Brian Gray.
Less than a minute remaining in this first half. 41-38, Manitoba in front. John Carson. Back to Bailey. Hediford.
And the intensity certainly has picked up here in the last 2 minutes.
And John Carson with another basket.
Coach Jerry Hemmings for Brandon yelling at his players to get their hands up on defense with his zone. And they're going to hold the ball for 1 shot here with 19 on the shot clock and 22 seconds left in the game clock.
Bisons would like to go into the dressing room with the lead they now enjoy and possibly increase it to 3. As House, good pass to Dirksen, but good defense by the Bobcats. 7 seconds on the clock. 5. Bailey bringing it up. And the Bobcats will go into the dressing room with a 1-point lead, 42-41, on that last second basket by Courtney Bailey.
Manitoba got the shot they wanted, Joe, but Rick Dirksen got blocked by Johnny Carson, and as a result, they had enough time to score.
All right, we'll be back with more of CK&E's Game of the Week right after this.
Hello, I'm Leslie Charlson. If you're over 30, like me, you know how important it is to take care of your looks, especially if age lines and wrinkles have already started to show. That's why I'm so thrilled to bring you news of a wonderful new beauty discovery. It's called Magic Mud. It's brand new, and it could be your first step towards a new and exciting life. Just look at these letters from women all over America. Women 35, 45, even 60 years old and more. One woman writes,
I'm 66 years old, and my friends are beginning to ask me if I've had a facelift. And that's after using only 1 tube of Magic Mud.
Your Magic Mud, I'm happy to say, worked beautifully. It has done wonders for me, and my complexion is just glowing. I will be 39 years old in September, and I have had more compliments since using your product than I have had for a long time.
I've used many products such as this in the past, and I have never used one that really works until now.
yes, Magic Mud really is magic. And now during our special television campaign, you can enjoy it at a special price. Why not look as beautiful as you can? Call our toll-free number now and have your Visa or MasterCard ready.
Visa, MasterCard, and COD orders, call toll-free or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $3 postage and handling to Magic Mud, 200-155 Carlton Street, Winnipeg, Manitoba.
CKND, working for the community, now presents Billboard Activity Notes. The Manitoba Parents for Ukrainian Education will hold an informal night on Tuesday, February 4th at 7 p.m. at the Oak Bank Elementary School. St. Stephen's Lutheran Church will hold a Frontiers Night on Saturday and Sunday, February 8th and 9th, beginning at 6:30 p.m. at the church, 99 Turner Avenue. And the Manitoba Forestry Association will hold classes to the public now until February 28th. Please contact their office for further information at 453-3182.
We're back here at the Bison East Gym. The Brandon Bobcats leading the Manitoba Bisons 42-41 here at the half. Don Lamont and Joe Pascucci here. And Don, great first half of action, just what we expected. We've got some great highlights to show as well.
It was exciting. Manitoba started off flat. I thought they were rather tight to begin with the first 10 minutes. Brandon was loose. And then a couple of key things happened. Manitoba changed defense, and Brandon lost one of their key players here, as we're going to see on the highlight. We won't see the injury, but we'll see Marvin Russell on a steal here on Joe Uggams. Joe Uggams, who's playing under a little bit of pressure, benched half of last game for disciplinary reasons, and Marvin Russell just takes the ball away from him and goes in for a layup. And Marvin Russell's in the hospital right now getting stitches. He had a 4-inch gash in the top of his head, and they're going to take him there and stitched up, and we won't see him back in this ball game.
But Marvin Russell will be back for Game 2 in this series tonight at 8:30 here at the Bison East. Now, another great play in that first half was a layup by Terry Garrow. This was just poetry in motion.
Yeah, Joe, I'm sorry. This is one of the things you practice in your playground games. Go behind the back, and Brandon Player got fooled with it, and he put it in. It's playground stuff.
And Courtney Bailey didn't have to even pay admission to see that when he was just frozen
That's right.
by all of that. Johnny Carson had 19 points in that first half for Brandon, the high scorer in this game, but another factor was Patrick Jebison, and he had a great basket in that first half as well.
Well, he's the key also, because then you just can't concentrate on Johnny Carson. A nice bounce pass by Bukic that time, and he takes a little jump hook. But Jebison has been scoring very well for them, and they need that. They need some balanced scoring. And Jebison, especially with Russell gone, is going to be another key factor for Brandon in the second half.
All right, we've seen a great first half of action. We're going to expect a great second half. Brandon leading Manitoba 42-41. CKND's Game of the Week continues right after this.
Warehouse Madness going on now at Kern Hill Furniture Co-op. $1 million of furnishing and appliances are going on sale at markdown prices. These prices apply to in-stock merchandise only. You'll find bargains galore throughout the store. We have only name-brand furniture. Plus, you can use our revolving credit card. And all merchandise is fully guaranteed. So come on down to Warehouse Madness going on now at Kern Hill Furniture Co-op, 843 Main Street. Come on down.
The following is a message to the business community from the Senior Citizens Job Bureau.
The largest segment of our population is approaching or at retirement age. Increasing numbers of individuals in our community will be jobless. We urge responsible employers and members of the community to recognize seniors as a useful and valuable resource. If you have full or part-time work, look to this resource and contact the Seniors Job Bureau.
Consider a senior. Ability is ageless.
Tuesday at 8 p.m. Tom Cruise and Leah Thompson star in the television premiere of All the Right Moves.
You've got a boy you can be proud of, Mr. Georgievich. We'd like him to come to our school.
Look, I'm scared. You're going away.
We didn't quit. You quit. You get out of here right now. You're through. You're off the team.
If he leaves here, you'll probably lose him. Have to let him go. I love him.
All the Right Moves. Tuesday at 8 on CKND.
Mozart, Beethoven, folk music. Much thrilling music was written to be performed by the most skilled musicians, with the audience grouped closely around to hear every subtle nuance. Manitoba Chamber Orchestra. Classic series in Young Church. Candlelight concerts in the Fort Garry Hotel. Manitoba Chamber Orchestra. Your soul vibrates in harmony.
Back here at the Bison East Gym, second half action just about to get underway. Terry Garrow will inbound it for the Bisons. They're trailing by 1. We'll see if the Bisons make any changes to start the second half, and one change they've made is that Tony House is out of the game, and great block by Jefferson on Dirksen.
There has been a significant change, actually, is that Manitoba stayed with the lineup they finished with, and in fact, they went to a bigger lineup. They took out, like you said, Tony House, and they put in Rick Dirksen. You see the block here. Just a great block that time by Jefferson.
John Carson now, 19 points in that first half to Jefferson, back outside to Courtney Bailey. Carson has an open lane. Make it 21 for Johnny Carson.
Tough shot, he makes it look so easy. Rick Suffield, one of his concerns, says, well, we can let Johnny Carson have his 25, but we can't let him have his 40 or we're going to lose. He's on his way.
Jefferson coming down, and we get a traveling call against Jefferson. His foot were slipping from underneath him as he tried to make that pass.
Well, he was up so high on the rebound. He had such a long way to come down. He slipped a little bit as he started on the break.
There's a break for the Bisons as Garrow trying to get it outside. Goes for the hoop and gets it in.
Garrow's one of those guys that likes to have the contact and then make the shot. He shoots very well under pressure.
13 points for Garrow in this game. And the ball rolls out of the back door. And the Bisons get it back and their chance to get back out in front.
Brandon's made a substitution as well. Number 22, Jason Green in there.
Great pass to Joe Uggams, and Uggams has put the Bisons back out in front. He has 14 points in this game.
Brandon looks a little disorganized right now. They got a couple new guys in the ball game, and they don't look like they know what they're doing.
Carson, good move, goes to the basket, gets the rebound, and he's going to draw the foul from Joe Uggams.
Terry Garrow looking inside here as we go down on the replay on the other end, and he throws a lob pass to Joe Uggams. Just a great pass. Nice play. Brandon that time got caught flat-footed. And that's one thing they should utilize more is the great leaping ability of Joe Uggams. He can go up high and get that ball around the backboard above the rim and put it in. He's got great balance.
And John Carson has put the Bobcats back out in front by 1. Correction on the foul. It was not to Joe Uggams, but it was to Rick Dirksen. A great pass to Dirksen! Whoa! That's the first slam.
Oh, no! Johnny Carson also picked up a foul. He just couldn't hit him hard enough to stop. We're going to have a great chance to see it here. Another super pass by Terry Garrow. Rick Dirksen. Boom!
As Dick Enberg would say, oh my!
Oh my! Count those.
48-46, Bisons have opened up a 2-point lead.
Now that's basketball.
Carson under pressure. Steal by the Bobcats. And Dirksen going to draw the foul.
Rick Dirksen has got to learn to let the offensive player commit first. He's too anxious to get in there and try and block the shot, and he commits too many fouls that way. Manitoba had done a great job of defense in Johnny Carson. He had 3 guys on him the last shot, and then they turned it over after they got the rebound. And you don't give Johnny Carson too many second opportunities, he's going to bury you. Rick Dirksen coming out. It's too bad he picked up that foul because he just made that great play down the other end of the floor. Rick Dirksen had a couple of those similar kind of dunk shots to the Western Classic. He's a great 2-foot jumper. When he gets that ball inside, he can go up strong.
Garrow. Good pass to Kaufman. Kaufman around Carson. And Brandon, player number 22, Jason Green, will be called for the foul.
Well, that's one of the things that makes Terry Garrow so exciting, because he can make those super passes. You see Tony Kaufman going baseline. And again, Jason Green gets off his feet. Why are you leaving your feet, guys? All you're doing is committing fouls, and as a result, guys are shooting foul shots, and then you're getting in the bonus. So stay down on your feet. coach would tell you, let the offensive player commit first before you leave your feet as a defensive player. You'll get a lot fewer fouls, and you'll get a lot more block shots.
Tony Kaufman missing twice from the line, so the Bison's lead stays at 1. Courtney Bailey brings it in. That ball went off the hand of Joe Uggam, so the Bobcats will retain possession.
Joe Uggam's getting more involved defensively. He's showing a lot more mobility this half on that side of that zone. Manitoba in basically a 1-3-1 right now. They've gone to their smaller lineup with Tony House back in the game.
Jason Green had that ball knocked out of his hands, and the Bisons will get it.
I'm surprised Jason Green's playing in this ball game. Transferred from North Carolina. They didn't think Coach Jerry Henderson didn't think he'd play.
Tony Kaufman hits a bomb, and if we had been playing in the NBA, you would have counted that for 3. Bison's almost coming up with a steal, but Joe Uggams didn't want to, but he knocked it out of bounds.
Good pressure again by Manitoba, getting Brandon out of its rhythm on offense.
Courtney Bailey, good moves. Bad pass, though, and here comes the Bisons. 3-on-1, fast break time. Joe Uggam. And Jason Green just deprived the fans of a slam.
He sure did, because that one was going to be going straight down. We'll have an opportunity to see it here. Tony House is looking for Joe Uggams all the way. There's the dish off, and there's Joe going up, and Jason Green comes and follows him from behind. Now, Jason Green's going to come back out of the ball game, and they're going to put Don Thompson in, and they want Thompson to bring the ball up because Brandon hasn't had an opportunity at the basket the last 3 times on the floor. They've had turnovers. Jerry Hemmings knows is they can't do that. That's the book on Brandon, is they have trouble with pressure, and so they can't afford to turn the ball over.
The Bisons have got a 5-point lead now. That's the biggest lead for them in this game. The Bobcats led by 10 at one point. Bukic, Courtney Bailey to Thompson. Thompson almost lost it. Carson gets it. And the Bisons putting on some good pressure defense right now.
And also when Brandon gets in the offense, they only have 8 seconds left on the shot clock, so they don't have lots of time for a great shot.
Carson will have to put it up with 2 seconds on the clock. Lost the ball, and the time clock runs out, the shot clock. And they're going to call a jump, and the arrow is pointing in Brandon's direction.
Well, they have to when the clock blows, and neither team has possession. So that one team doesn't get an advantage, they have to call a jump ball, and then the arrow goes to Brandon that time.
And the Bobcats get a break.
Yes, they do.
And we're going to get some... We may have double fouls.
Yes, that's
here.
what we do. Brian Gray and John Bukic.
We talked about elbow swinging. You should take a look at Don Thompson. He was not the one who was called for the foul.
And as a result of the double foul, the arrow go, Manitoba get the ball. Double foul, it's a jump ball, and the arrow pointed to Manitoba, so they get the ball. A little bit of action inside there.
Tony Kaufman inside to Joe Uggams. And Uggams was looking for Brian Gray, but Jefferson intercepted the pass and knocked it out of bounds.
That was a good call by Rick Lambert. He's got to set to Tony. Can't let those guys get too physical inside, so he called a double foul, and they'll both hopefully back off a little bit.
Joe Uggams trying for that alley-oop. But the timing was just a little off.
He missed it, they jammed it in the rim, and I don't know why the whistle blew. The ball should have stayed alive. He still had another opportunity to score it.
Bukic will get the charging foul.
And Terry Garrow showing a lot of courage standing in there this time. We see the dish off to Thompson, to Bukic. Terry Garrow holds position, and Bukic just backs right and knocks him over. A little difference in size there that time, Joe.
And weight.
And I guess Jerry Hemmings feeling the game's getting a little physical. He's going to put Frank Pojarski in the game. Make it even a little bit more physical.
Garrow We'll be back with more of CK&D's Game of the Week. Manitoba leading Brandon 54-47.
In the box operating there. Okay, these people here, you're going to have to get active. What I'm thinking to do now, it'll probably bring people in closer and maybe loosen it up and get it more compact back in. But right out here now, they kind of dominate us in their defense out there. We need to get the tempo going back our way. Okay? Now, listen to this. Let's switch our defense right now to a 3-2 zone. You play the top, Bailey, you play on
Gary Hemming's going to go to a 3-2 zone on defense, and he also wants to get a little bit more movement on offense. He's not really too happy with the tempo. He wants to get the flow going back his way. Johnny Carson's not getting the ball where he wants it. As a result, Brandon's not going as well as they should, and Manitoba's opened up a 7-point lead here. Part of it responsibility to the fine passing play and defense of Terry Garrell.
See what the call is here. No call?
No call. We'll have a jump ball. Nobody saw it.
I don't think either team was too happy with that call.
No, and there's been a couple, 2 or 3 in the last 2 minutes that, could have gone either way, and there have been calls on it.
Don Thompson trying to get some points up here on the board for the Bobcats. Jefferson, Thompson, Courtney Bailey working against Joe Uggams. Uggams got his hand in there. Thompson, good move around Kaufman, but Brian Gray in there for the stuff. But Gray gets the call.
Brian Gray throwing his weight around inside. You see a nice little reverse dribble this time by Donnie Thompson. Good penetration against the zone. He goes up strong, and Brian Gray says, you're going to take that straight back. Not the ball so much, but your body. Brian Gray is, first of all, he got involved with Bukic, and then just before that happened, he got involved with Johnny Carson. So Brian Gray is not backing down there for Manitoba. And he's not that small a guy either, 6'7", 220.
Thompson, 1 for 2 from the line.
I think it's kind of tough, when you sit in the stands or you're home on television watching the game, you don't realize how big these players are. But when you're down here in floor level, you sure do.
Terry Garrell. He's been hot from the outside in the second half, almost coming up with a steal. Courtney Bailey. Can't get it over Gray. Wojcicki goes up.
And Rick Lambert's got the foul that time. That's what Wojcicki's good at, drawing the fouls. He dug out a tough offensive rebound that time, and he got a big foul. Brandon needs these 2 baskets right now, these 2 foul shots. As we have a look at it here, Wojcicki gives a little pump fake, puts the ball down, backs out so he got some little room, and Brian Gray reaches in, gets a foul. Neil Enns also took Brian Gray out on that play after he picked up his second quick foul in a row. Hey, Red Lake, Ontario, good fishing country up there, Joe.
Now, are we talking what are we talking here? Walleyes?
Walleye, trout, what do you know? That's right.
And of course, when you go fishing out there this summer, you can always hire a pro.
Right.
56-49. Manitoba leading as they make some changes. Jeff House also into the game.
We were talking earlier about the men not having three-point line in CIAU basketball. Well, this would be a great time to have it in. We get one team down a little bit, wants a big basket. Certainly be nice to have that three-point in. Maybe we'll see it next year, hopefully.
Hopefully. 14:09 remaining in the second half. And Courtney Bailey expecting Carson to move in. And this Bobcat team has certainly missed Marvin Russell. They have not been the same since he's been out.
Yeah, they're really confused up top what they're trying to do offensively. Nobody, like Courtney Bailey, hasn't done a very good job coming in off the bench. He's been turning the ball over. And he seems a little confused at what they're trying to run on offense. As he's here talking to Johnny Carson, they're trying to get it straightened out between the two of them. Because they definitely have to get the ball at Johnny Carson. There's no doubt about that. But give Manitoba credit. They've made the adjustment defensively to deny Johnny the ball.